I almost hit the wrong start button, but we started.
And we're live. I've been told.
Yeah, that's how you know now. And I'm going to also check real fast that our audio levels are the same. Cause mine
Sweet, because last week,
wasn't quite great.
oh man, my video is going to be going bright and then dark. All right, I'm ready.
All right, you're
I'm
perfect.
now ready, but we're still live. It's fine.
Oh yeah, we can't stop now.
Can't stop now. It's too late. We've got, actually,
A lot of lists.
it might end up being some good topics tonight.
I hope you like lists.
We do. They take up a lot of time. We've got 15 ideas to save your old computer and put it to use. We've got some free hacks to make your PC run faster, such as downloading more RAM.
Crazy fast.
That's two separate topics, not one
Right.
topic. But they
Might
might be pretty similar. We'll see.
it'd be great to see how many of the same things are in both lists.
Yeah, exactly. And then how many we've actually done.
I'm gonna guess more than 80% of them I've done between the two lists.
For yourself or for, business
life.
or... Okay, gotcha.
For myself, probably like 2%. I might have done one
Okay.
of these for myself.
We've got an article about Google possibly having to end service in Australia in the near future, which I think this was in the news a few months ago, but now it's popping back up in the news feed, so decided to add that article. Would you buy a device that makes you feel bad?
I already own Windows 10.
Ooh, an article about which secure messaging app you should use: Telegram, WhatsApp, or Signal. Spoiler alert. There is kind of a conclusion, but in my mind, it's kind of irrelevant, actually.
Yeah. Use the United States Postal Service.
Snail mail for the
so
win.
secure that the other party won't even receive it.
No one will read your message.
Right.
We've got an article. This one was pretty interesting. At least the title's interesting.
Yeah.
China used pirated software to run their train station when Adobe shut down Adobe Flash Player.
Which is
Flash.
wild to think that an entire train station can run off of Adobe Flash Player when your RAM can barely handle when a browser tab uses it.
And finally, some home automation stuff. Alexa knows when you don't want your lights on and will start controlling your life auto-magically.
Auto-magically.
Yeah. And then possibly, if we need some more time at the end, some home automation updates. Some bad news.
That's not terrible. It's just like, I hope
A lot of work.
I hope nobody else wanted to do this. Yeah. If you can pull out now, go ahead and stop. Is really what this is warning you. Oh, starting off with a 15 great ideas list. It is from PCMag.com, and I actually saw this Monday night last week, right after we had finished streaming. But from the looks of it, the Facebook sponsored post was actually from April 21st, 2020. So, hopefully old PCs didn't find new uses in the last 8 months. That'd be
Because
very...
if they didn't, then this article will come in handy.
Right?
Yeah. Is that how that works?
Something like that. So the first one is experiment with new lighter OS. And so they go and give you a couple examples of Ubuntu, Mint, Elementary, Pingu, whatever, Manjaro. And then they
Probably
mention
Chromebook as well.
Yeah, and they mention down there Cloud Ready, where they're whatever they call it, Cloud OS. Which shockingly Google bought. So Google does own it now. Yay. So I actually have several Cloud Ready computers sitting in my store. So I've got this one. I've used it. It is literally just a Chromebook. It's pretty great.
Okay.
It's pretty great if you like Chromebooks. I guess there's a little difference there. Oh, I've done this one too. This is gonna be just a list of me going, I did this one. Make a NAS home server. That's actually what was running everything downstairs before lightning struck it, and I just built a Ryzen computer. Unfortunately, I didn't actually use NAS software like they're recommending with FreeNAS or whatever this one is. Everyone uses FreeNAS though. I just used Windows 10 and then just shared the folders.
Right.
Yeah, right.
So, are drives still accessible on, say, an Android device?
I've never tried.
Okay.
What's the benefit of that, I guess? Because
I guess it's accessible by an Android device would be the benefit. So if you need to transfer photos onto your phone or off your phone. So that might be one advantage of using like one of these services such as FreeNAS or Tornado, as opposed to just the Windows 10. But if you know you're only transferring it from
computer to computer, right?
Then, I mean, checks out.
Yeah, that and Plex just works in Windows 10, and that's pretty much what I use my server for. Is Plex.
Okay, gotcha.
Makes it easy. All right, number 3. I bet I did it, and I haven't even read it yet.
Possibly,
maybe,
kind of.
Create a starter PC for distant family. I mean,
distant family, but
funny enough, my streaming PC, which is not this one somehow, is a old used recycled computer that's sitting in the other room. That's the one that we did with the planes, and I've been doing every night this week except tonight.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, that's just a recycled computer that was donated, I believe that one was. But yeah, I don't know if it's really considered a starter PC, but I've definitely reused them.
Hack together an anonymous PC.
What?
Everyone's worried about privacy. There are many tools to make your working computer a more anonymous workstation for surfing the web. So, yeah, I guess just something that's not linked to your personal accounts. Just if you have your own PC for doing your spy stuff.
On your home IP. Yeah, right. I just wouldn't recommend this to really anyone unless they're like know what they're doing, I guess. I don't know, that just seems silly.
Super spy stuff.
Right. Probably don't do it in your house either. I mean, top recommendations right there.
On your network.
Fire up a hotspot. I mean, my phone does that. I own a router that has wireless access, you know.
This says, well, to be honest, it's probably a better job left to a router, but the option exists. You can hook a router with Wi-Fi onto your computer if your computer already has internet access, and then rebroadcast the hotspot. So I've never done that. Don't plan to, but yeah, the phone thing for sure.
So the software they recommend is Connectify Hotspot. It is $60.
Whoa, that's expensive.
Hotspot Max lifetime plus 6 months free of VPN. It looks like if you don't want the VPN stuff, it's for $35, I think.
Okay.
Or
for
50.
life.
I don't know what the difference between Pro and Max is.
I mean, I guess the price for that isn't terrible for a lifetime subscription, but why? Unless you have a super specific need where you need this. As it says, probably best left up to the router itself.
Right. You need this and you can't use a router.
Like, there's nothing else you can do. Because don't you pretty much need a router to do this?
Unless it also has the routing functionality built in.
Into your laptop.
I mean...
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I have no idea. Serve up
this
some
one you've
media.
Done.
Oh, yeah. And they're even using the Plex logos.
Yeah.
I recognize those. Yep. So I've tried Cody, didn't like it. Way too ugly. Yeah, you can reskin it. Still, it's difficult in comparison to Plex.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely done it. Wow, that's a weird way to title this one.
Make a guest or kitchen PC? Not so sure about kitchen PC. I mean, living room PC.
Right. So I can argue with the guest PC, or not guest PC, the kitchen PC. There's a good idea with that one for digital cookbooks. So you can just have it pulled up as like, I want to look up this recipe, and then it can just sit in there. The other benefit of a kitchen PC, which I'm looking at, which might be talked about at the end of the episode with Smart of Things, is a way to scan your food right before you throw it away. So it goes right back into a shopping list.
To basically track the inventory of your kitchen. Yeah. So you know what you have on hand and need to buy. Yeah, because you can track the inventory, and the benefit of we're getting off topic. The benefit of tracking inventory is that you can there's a couple apps out there that will tell you like, hey, with these foods you can make these recipes from a recipe database, and you can also just have your own custom ones. Like if I have baked beans and hot dogs, that can make a beanie weenie, which is just cut up hot dogs and baked beans. It's a normal food. But that might not be in a recipe book online because I don't know. But if you can add your own recipes, then yeah.
And so that's really good with the stock, whatever you just called it. No,
inventory.
Inventory.
Yeah.
And then there's the other side where you don't keep track of what's actually in the house. You just keep track of what you throw away. And then that throwaway list just adds to a shopping list, essentially.
So you basically, as you use stuff, you're always replacing it. So you just always have your your normal supply.
Yeah. So if I use a can of baked beans, I can just scan it and then throw it in the recycle, and it just automatically gets added to a list. And that's what I looked at more. Whether
it's you going to the grocery store or someone else in the house, you can all look at that same list and get whatever everybody needs.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, it's almost the same thing, but technically opposite. One tracks what you don't have, and the other one tracks what you do have.
Yeah.
But yeah, a guest PC, I mean, I feel like these two shouldn't be put together. Old school gaming. I can get behind that one. That's what I had tried at one point with this Pi. Funny enough.
Installing emulators and stuff.
Yeah. Definitely need something more powerful, in my personal opinion. So an old PC should definitely be a good option.
This one's bet you haven't done this one.
I have done this one, actually.
Really?
With a
make it into a tablet.
A broken laptop with a touchscreen. The only part that was broken on it was the hinges.
Oh.
But the way the hinges broke, I would have had to replace the hinges, like the palm rest and the back plate.
Okay.
Because it like broke all three pieces, and it was too expensive, so it was just not worth fixing.
Gotcha.
And so instead of like actually making it into a tablet, like what they're kind of doing, I just folded it over because the hinges were broken now, and then put like 2 rubber bands on each side to hold the back, like the keyboard part of the laptop to the back of the screen. It worked. It's still sitting in my store actually, and it works. My plan is to use that for my kitchen PC when I get the smart home set up.
Okay, gotcha. Wow, these are really tying together nicely.
Right? Like, it's kind of like works. But yeah, because it has a touch screen, it has a webcam on it. I was like, this is literally perfect because I can flip the screen upside down. The webcam's on the bottom, which makes it more realistic to scan something and then hit above the, because you don't want to hold dirty stuff above your screen.
Yeah. True.
So yeah, I do have a tablet one ready to go. The crazy part is it's like a 3rd gen i5. Like, it's not a bad laptop, which is why I've kept it for so long. It's like, I know I'm going to use it. I know I'm going to use it. I know I'm going to use it. We're so far. We're so far. I'll make sure we're actually kind of like live.
turn that
Don't plan
PC
to,
up
but yeah.
to 11. So you can also use your PC as a guitar amplifier. If you have some kind of adapter to hook your guitar up to your PC via USB port, then you can use a software by Ubisoft called Rocksmith Realtone, which
It looks
basically just works as an amplifier for your guitar or electric guitar.
Oh, okay.
Never done that one.
So it is a weird like TRS to USB cable with some type of controller from the link they have in there. But it does just go TRS, which is the guitar standard 1/4 inch.
Okay.
It goes to USB, so you can just plug straight into the computer. And then the software is $200.
Wow.
So in
Guitar
case you
cut.
right, in case you have this old computer that you're trying to avoid throwing away, and $200 spare dollars, and a
you
cable,
can't spend on an amplifier.
right? Well, I mean, it's an option, I guess. keep the options open. Make art. I will agree with this one very hardly, very muchly. Great. I have a ton of old computer parts.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one of the things I'm saving up is all of the old RAM, and I bet I got like 30 pounds of old RAM at this point. It's just piled on boxes. Because it looks cool. I don't know. And it doesn't take up that much room.
Didn't Linus spray paint a lot of his motherboards and put them on his wall in his office?
And I think that looks really good.
Yeah. Just, it gives it some texture.
But, yeah. Like, part of me is like the CD lamps. Like, I have a ton of CDs. Because every motherboard comes with one. Every graphics card comes with one.
Oh, gotcha.
And so I've always just taken them out and just tossed them in a pile. And so I have this huge pile of just CDs at this point. And I'm like, I mean, like one day I'll have, it's either going to sit on my shelf and not take up much room, or it's going to go in the trash. I'm like, yeah, I might be able to reuse it. Now I do throw things away. If it's complete utter trash, I will throw it away. But if like it's aesthetically pleasing, right? If there's any percentage of a chance of me using it, I will keep it. I just hit a world record, a personal world record. I hit 3 concurrent viewers at the same time.
Wow.
Oh, it only took 2 years. Not even.
Almost 2 years, yeah.
Right.
Save it for Skype. So another option would be to just use the laptop as a dedicated laptop for video calls and stuff.
That's a good option, though. I would agree with it, but I'm also on the train that it does make sense for some people to have a dedicated video conference computer.
Yes, if you're someone who doesn't have a desktop, say you have a laptop for school or whatever, it could make sense if you have an old laptop to use that as a dedicated like Skype laptop. That way you can still be using your other laptop with a full screen while you're on a video call or whatever.
Yep. I was about to make that same argument that you just did.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I have a desktop with 3 monitors right now, one that I never even turn on. So for me, it's not as big of a deal because I can just, drag a panel over to the other screen. But yeah, if you mainly work from a laptop, then I can definitely see that usage.
Yeah, because it really does make a huge difference in life if you have multiple screens. And so my other streaming setup and the other streaming setup, I actually use a laptop as my computer for all the audio stuff, which is what I'm streaming is audio. And then the second desktop is in control of all the streaming. So that controls all the cameras, the audio in for the stream itself, and then just stream chat, essentially.
Gotcha.
And having 2 computers helps so much split that processing load. So yeah, that's a really good option, especially since this article was written in April, which was like beginning of the pandemic. It aged well so far. Create your own security cam. So the first thing I see here is underlined as iSpy, which is security software. I've actually used it before. It works good. Nothing bad about it. The best part that I liked about iSpy is I believe there's a free version to it. If not a free version, it's free itself altogether. But
it's actually interesting. I used that like a week and a half to this week to set up a security camera.
Oh, cool.
For the most niche usage ever. And I was mainly working on the motion detection.
Okay.
So we'll go into it a little bit just to talk about the software a little bit.
Yeah.
But our issue was we have 3 cats. One of them's really fat. We're trying to monitor how much this fat cat eats. So we made a way so that only 2 of the other smaller cats can eat, and the bigger cat can't eat.
It's crawl through a box or something. You can't fit
exactly,
in.
yeah.
Okay.
But at first, the smaller cats weren't crawling into this box, so we wanted to make sure that they were still able to get food. So we were monitoring them with a motion detection webcam to make sure they were getting food, and then eventually they were walking into getting food. But this software from iSpy, Agent DVR motion detection, is what I ended up using. Made it really easy because, well, their documentation online was pretty decent.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is it just broadcasts a web page, like it hosts a web page on your home network. So I could share the IP for that computer, that laptop that was hosting that video stream, and share it with anyone in the house, and they can click on, look at the most recent alerts to see the last video clip or whatever. And it was pretty easy to set it up where if there was motion detection detected by the webcam, it would save a 15-second recording.
Okay, yeah.
From the last moment of movement. And then there were a lot of options for what motion detection, system to use. I think I just went with the simplest option. But
yeah, okay. Because, the one I found was, you can draw certain areas. So, you have, the, black area, and that would not be motion detected. And then a green area that was, if 15% pixel change or something. And then you have, yellow, and it was, 50% pixel change. And then red would be, 100% of the pixels in this area have to change before it starts recording. But, yeah, I found something like that was really cool. It's very customizable.
It's very customizable, but it's not so customizable that it's unusable. There's some easier to use options as well. Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's also an option to, if you have actual IP cameras connected, I don't know how they're normally connected, by Ethernet cable or whatever, you could add multiple cameras on. They don't all have to be webcams or anything.
Correct.
But in my case, I just used webcam because that was just the simplest solution.
Yeah, so when I used it, I did use IP cameras, and the IP camera just connects to the network, so the IP camera is just going to get 192.168. My case is 2, but most people get .1 IP camera. And then in the iSpy software, you just say, look for camera at 192.168, and it just...
Okay, that's super simple,
and it asks, brand or model and stuff, and you just, you would know it because you're setting it up, and then it's easy. Home Assistant could take note of that.
So that probably gets frame rate and resolution and stuff when you put in the model number.
Tear it down to build it up. Well, if I've ever seen a used computer, I'm sure it's always looked like that.
Yep.
What it takes to build a PC. Take it apart, put it back together, see if it still works.
It still works, and then figure out why. Yeah, that
why
pretty much describes it. Yeah, I mean, when I bought my very first computer, I think I paid $100 for it from some company that was just selling them. Bought it on Craigslist, and bought it, used it for a little while, but I mean, probably a few months after, I replaced pretty much all the guts of it and just kept the case and power supply. No, I must have upgraded the power supply too.
You'd had to. You'd have to.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the things I do if I someone wants to come in and learn about computers is that I have stacks of computers at this point that have been donated. I haven't been able to go through. And if I'm not busy at that moment and we're not in the middle of a pandemic, I let them just here, you can take this apart, and I want these parts out of it. and then just let them go ham with a screwdriver. That's like if I trust them on the initial time they walk in. Like, yeah, you seem like someone who actually wants to learn and not just like waste time. But yeah, if you can get your hands on just like an old working computer, tearing it apart and just putting it back together and seeing if it still turns on and doesn't create smoke is pretty educational in itself. Simply before you buy an $1,800 computer and try to build it yourself.
If you're buying a computer for $100, it's almost a no-lose situation, because I mean, a copy of Windows, I don't know what a copy of Windows costs now, but it's
more
kind of been around $100, right? So if that computer that you bought already has a copy of Windows on it, then I mean, you're even right there.
Yeah. I mean, legally they're not supposed to sell you the Windows when they sell you the computer, but
oh really?
Yeah, but it's yours. Just use it. It'll activate. Contribute CPU cycles. So they mentioned Boink, and I'm sure they're gonna mention folding at home. You can. It's really not worth the electricity to donate them, but a lot of people do, and it is for good. But yeah, a lot of people will do folding at home or Boink. I used to, especially when I didn't have to pay for electricity.
Yeah.
And now that I pay for electricity, I do not.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you can set these up at your work and you don't have to pay for the electricity, go for it. Otherwise, just donating cold hard cash to the charities you like is probably the better solution to helping people out. We made it to the end of the list.
That was a long list.
That was like 15, I think. Exactly 15.
Does that bring us to our midpoint?
Trying to get our midpoint, or I was holy crap, 27 minutes. We have to go faster or something. We can do the second list and then call that the midpoint.
Okay, cool. This next video, or next article, same as the first.
The next live stream, right?
11 cheap or free ways to make your old PC run faster from PC World.
So I just realized it says from PC, or you said from PC World, and then under PC World it says from IDG. I wonder who bought them.
IDG. Where does it say that?
At the very top, red banner.
Oh, okay.
Weird. Anyways, if your old workhorse of a PC is starting to slow down in its old age, these low or no cost tricks can help put some pep in its processing step. I hope this whole thing rhymes. I'm not sure if that's number one. All right.
So IDG stands for International Data Group. It's an American media events and research company headquartered in Massachusetts.
Hey, I know that place.
The #1 tech media company in the world, according to their website.
According to their website, right? All right. Teach an old dog new tricks, I guess, is number one. Or maybe that's just like the titling. I guess that might be number one. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's just kind of the...
Yeah, all right, we'll skip that one. Streamline your startup. So this one can help your computer run a little faster.
Definitely. I need to do this myself, actually. It's awful.
I think mine is all right. I mean, I've got Task Manager open here just for us to watch it. I can't show it on screen because of the things that are on there. Yeah, I got several things that have been disabled already.
So what this is talking about is oftentimes when you install new software, it will automatically add itself to your startup routine. So whenever you start up your computer, after powering it off, obviously, when you start it up, these softwares will automatically start and run in the background, even if they're not being used by you, and it can slow down your computer. So a good idea is to, especially if you have an older PC or your PC struggling, it's a good idea to reduce or disable the amount of programs that are starting up when your computer restarts.
Yep. So actually, this one for customers. For a lot of times when they come in because there's a lot of pop-ups and it's running slow, this is the first thing I do is I open up Task Manager, go down the list, and I just disable everything on the list. I don't even care what it is, and then just restart the computer. And that's how I start.
Okay.
Because simply getting everything to like not be running at once helps a lot with the cleanup process. Okay. So yeah, I just go down to Task Manager and to startup, and then you just click on the program, and then you can click disabled over here, and it'll show you if it's in the disabled or enabled state for startup. But this does help a lot if you just have, Garmin, TomTom, Skype, all these different garbage programs. Sorry, Skype. Yeah. Installed. It will make them stop. That's a good tip. I agree with it. Spring cleaning part 1. I'm already afraid of what part 2 is. So did they say anything in particular? Okay, search for add or remove program. Oh no. So they're going to show you how to uninstall programs. And run a virus scan is what they're saying.
Okay, so I guess just remove stuff you don't use.
Yep. So they say stop all your programs and startup, and then remove programs you don't use anymore. Okay, I can agree with both of those so far.
Ooh, you're definitely gonna agree with this, I think.
It's weird. This is step 2. You think that you would have physically cleaned the computer before you started doing anything software related to it.
For most people, it's probably scary opening up the PC.
Okay.
Even though, I mean, we know it's...
Right. As long as you're not sneezing when you're looking into it, you're fine.
As long as you're not, spraying water in there or anything.
I like how it says, scrub your hardware.
That might be going overboard.
Yeah, don't scrub it.
Sometimes they can definitely build up dust, especially in heat sinks and stuff. And so that can cause the computer to start to overheat and thermal throttle, reducing your...
A gentle 70 PSI with your fingers on the fan blades. Good way to go. But definitely cleaning out the dust. And then I'm not sure if they even mentioned it here, but thermal paste is a great option. If you're going to go this far, you might as well go ahead and just put new thermal paste on there. It doesn't take that much longer. If you're okay with opening your side panel, you'll be okay putting new thermal paste on there. But the thermal paste, I think, will do an equal amount of help.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder what part 3 is. Oh, okay. Well, if you didn't want to actually have to do any software work, you could reinstall Windows. That'll fix your problem if it's software related.
Yep. The only downside of this, of course, is reinstalling all the software that you actually do use, which is a pretty big pain. But honestly, to get a complete restart, there are definitely situations where it can be worth it.
So you say it's a pretty big pain. So I'm now curious. If I came over to your house right now and just factory reset your computer, how long do you think it would actually take you to reinstall all your software?
If you're talking about all the software, there's really not that much I use, I guess. Other than some development type stuff.
Okay.
Which
I didn't think about that.
But, I mean, it's just kind of a pain in the butt. I guess it's not really that big of a pain. But, reinstalling Discord, logging in again, reinstalling Steam, Chrome.
Yeah, so if any of my home computers got reset, ignoring the fact that the data loss, like pictures, videos, and all that stuff, just the program stuff, I would say most of my computers would be 30 minutes of work just to get all the programs reinstalled and me sign back into everything.
Yeah.
Ignoring the customer database and all the important files on the work computers. I mean, it would be 10, 15 minutes. and that's just because I'm not signed into so much personal stuff at work.
Yeah.
I also use those computers more than I do the home computers, so I know exactly like, hey, I need Chrome, WinRAR Stat,
because you use it every day. Yeah.
Well, yeah. But then the personal files, the pictures, the documents, the
That's the
OBS
stuff
settings, those are going to be
Yeah.
the annoying things. But
Yeah. And if you have slow internet, like me,
oh, see, that might be another big problem. Is that
installing games could be a pain.
between fiber and then 200 down at the store.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Not a big deal. Yeah.
So you might have heard about this then. Have you ever heard of ninenight.com?
Night?
Nine
Like
Night.
the number 9?
No, so I'm actually going to pull it up because this is super useful and it's not related to this thing at
I
all.
don't think I've heard of it. No.
So this is useful websites that computer guys use. So it's ninite.com.
Okay.
But it gives you a list of all the super useful software that pretty much everyone uses. And all you do is you just go down the list and you just check things that you use. And then it'll automatically install all of it without you actually having to do anything.
Wow.
And that's how I would save so much time resetting up my computer.
Gotcha. No, I hadn't ever used that for sure. I might have heard you mention it before, but
I would definitely have had to have mentioned it once, but yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, like, I can finish this list off real fast and tell you how many actual things I have on this list. It's not one. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, it's gonna be near 20. I'm not gonna count all these.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of useful software on ninenight.com, and it speeds up the setup process a lot. It also makes you look really cool when a customer wants to set up a computer real fast. Like, can you install a couple pieces of software for me? Like, oh, we'll just do it when you get here. It'll only take about 5 minutes. I'm like, well, I'm hoping to get a couple things. I'm like, it'll take a couple minutes. Like, don't worry about it. And they show up. I'm like, so just check everything on this list that you want, and I'll get it installed for you. And by the time you're done getting your hair cut or picking up your laundry, it'll be ready for you.
Yeah.
And they're like, really? Yeah, I'm going to work on these two while it works. Like, I don't even have to look at it.
Yeah. That is pretty convenient. Especially the way that the list is presented, so they can literally go through and select it for themselves.
The only thing I wish that Ninite would improve as we slowly diverge away from the main topic is have a second website almost. So you have ninenight.com, which is like official. And then there's like 99night.com or something. And it will show all the users submitted and held. And so then you can rank it like only the top ones or something. Or there's a way for me to log into my account and only show the ones that I want to see. And then that way I can log in and be like, all right, I want to give the customer the option of installing VLC player. But then like I also might personally use some other player, and I find that super useful. So I won't put that on the list too. And then that way,
so like presets, kind of.
Yep, essentially, yes. Because there is software on there. I don't think there's Spotify on ninenight.com. Honestly, can't remember. Oh, there is. Okay. But I use Equalizer APO on every computer I own, and that's not on this list. I installed it on a customer's computer this week. Like, I love it as software. It'd be great if there was an option just to stick it on there.
Yeah.
But, like, it's pretty darn good for what it is.
Next one is overclock. Have you ever overclocked anything?
This computer I'm streaming on right now.
Okay. Because I've never overclocked anything. My CPU is overclockable, but
You've never overclocked.
Never overclocked.
Yep. So my CPU on this computer is overclocked to 4.3 gigahertz, and I believe its base is 3.3.
Wow, that's.
But a lot of people, a lot of people are able to get the CPU up to 4.5, I believe.
Wow.
Like a 4.5 is like the standard stable.
30% increase.
That's a Sandy Bridge 2500K. If anyone ever was like, what kind of processor do you have? But yeah, if it's a laptop, don't overclock. Otherwise, go ham. You will burn your computer out.
This next one's a big one that you're going to definitely love.
Do it now before the prices rise.
Install an SSD. It will help with your startup times for your computer, your programs, and if you're loading into a game with friends, it'll speed that up too.
Have you ever moved it over yet?
Nope.
No. Oh man, I was playing today. We kicked a person from our group because they had it on their hard drive. Yeah, we were sitting in that truck for like 10 minutes. We were sitting in that truck long enough for us to be aggravated though. But yeah, SSD. It is a great option right now. Depending on what the market does this spring and summer, I mean, it's still a great option, but it might be an expensive great option.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of paying money for options,
RAM. This one's also supposed to go. These are supposed to get expensive.
Add RAM a few months ago.
Yeah, right. Funny enough, this computer I'm streaming on only has 16 gigs of RAM. The other one I think only has 12.
I'm pretty sure I only have 16 gigs of RAM too.
That's the most I own in any computer, 16 right now. I am willing to go to 32 if someone is willing to sell me their RAM. I know you're watching.
Oh, gotcha. One of your two viewers.
But yeah, hey, there are two viewers right now. You must be the other one.
No. You mentioned that earlier.
Ah. No, I peaked out at 3.
Oh.
Yeah,
nice.
Right? I'm famous.
You probably don't want to do this next tip because it's going to be super expensive.
No,
you know what it
you
is.
should go in and do it. It'll be worth the money, they say.
Swap out your graphics card if you can find one.
Yeah. So the other big downside of swapping out your graphics card is you may also need a new power supply.
Which are also
expensive. So, I mean, it's an option, technically.
It's an option, but if you're not
Yeah.
struggling playing games, this isn't going to help you. Like, if you're struggling doing other stuff, your graphics card, upgrading your graphics card probably isn't going to help you. Unless you're doing something like playing games or maybe video work.
Yep.
Like video production.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, don't buy graphics card at the time that this is live. Not a great market at the
They're
moment.
really hard to find and expensive right now.
Yeah, right. Switch to Linux. I could say that's a good tech tip. The problem is the chances are if you're reading a PC World article, you don't want to switch your computer to Linux. You're going to have a hard time.
Yeah, but for older hardware, it can.
Yeah. It brings it back to life. Switching to Linux is kind of like, was it on this one or the other article? Switching to the, Cloud Ready.
Yeah, that was the other article.
That was the other one. Okay.
Yeah,
So
but I think it also suggested things like Ubuntu and whatever Ubuntu.
Yeah. Yeah, because this also mentions down here Puppy Linux, which is super tiny. LXLE and Lubuntu. And then, of course, everyone's favorite, Ubuntu.
Next up, something that I don't think we're ready for just yet, unless you have really good internet.
Right.
Embrace cloud gaming. Is your PC not cutting it? Well, use a PC on the cloud.
Use someone else's computer.
Yeah.
Use your guest/kitchen computer.
I guess I can't really speak to this because I haven't even tried any of the online cloud gaming services. For me, it's definitely not worth it because, like we mentioned earlier about internet connection.
Yeah, right. If you could see his pixels on his face, you'll understand.
Yeah. So, I'm not going to say it's the wrong option for everybody, but for me, it's not the option. And I think for most people, it's probably, I don't know if cloud gaming is ready just yet.
I don't think for
but
the
in the
majority
future,
it is.
it's definitely a part of the future. I feel like so. we'll have to wait and see.
That's a weird way to word it. Fling some files.
Oh, I guess just setting it up as a server, like Flex or something.
Sweet.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, yep, let's do that one. How to speed up your computer. Bite the bullet and buy a new one.
Yep. The end.
The end. And with that is the end of the episode.
Well, I guess we gotta pick out one more article to talk about, because I mean, we can roll these over to next week.
Right. All right, we're saving 7 for next week because that works too well with my update. We do 6 because it's not that interesting, I guess.
Cool. Yeah.
I'll just edit everything out of my description. So my 2 live viewers, don't look at my description because it's about to be edited.
This article is from The Drive.
I saw it and just thought it was hilarious. I didn't actually even read any of it.
Okay. So after reading the title, I wasn't really sure what's going on, but now it seems to make more sense that I'm looking at the article. It says an Adobe Flash shutdown halts Chinese railroad for over 16 hours before pirated copy restores operations. So basically, I guess this when Flash was killed and this train station was still running on Flash, it shut down the train station. And then they had to install a pirated version of Flash in order to continue operations, which is pretty insane.
So, question. Is it considered piracy if they're giving it away for free? Without limit.
I guess maybe cracked would be a better way to put it, you know?
I don't know if it's cracked. They didn't change anything, did they?
I bet they had to change something in order to
they should be like a railroad for over 16 hours before an old version restores operation. Or a reinstalled version. So I bet they had to crack it in the sense of changing some registry entry so that it didn't tell itself to auto uninstall.
So it says, looking through this article, it says the team reportedly began exploring a reversion to older software systems. Its options apparently consisting of an unspecified Microsoft-based setup or an archived, pirated version of Flash without the time bomb code. Technicians settled on the latter, and around 1 a.m. on the 13th, they successfully brought one of the stations fully online. So
okay,
it seems to be they got some kind of cracked version that had the time bomb code removed that they were able to
which I guess we can that
re-inject into the
only way
system.
Right.
Yeah.
So now
your point about changing the system time or something could potentially work, but I guess maybe they thought of that. But imagine how badly that would mess up a train station schedule, like changing the system time.
I mean, so how long do you think they're gonna just let it run on the old version of Flash before they?
Too long.
Do you think they're actually gonna even try to update it to HTML5 or something new, or it's gonna be 15 years down the road when all these people retire and the next generation of people come in and they're like, "What is this?"
Yeah, it's probably gonna be a long time. Because systems like this can grow and grow and grow and become more and more complicated, and then it just becomes a hassle to rebuild them from scratch, like for obvious reasons.
It becomes expensive.
Yeah, expensive and troublesome if you miss like one feature.
Yeah, why
and
touch something that works?
Yeah, exactly. If it works, kind of.
The weird part is, I guess, that they had Flash installed on these computers, and these computers were online on the internet getting Windows updates. I think is the weirdest part of this whole thing. Like, I don't know if I would have a computer that so many people depended on have automatic updates turned on. Like,
yeah.
but that, like, I don't know how any of this works. So, like, what
Yeah,
happens
and
to
we
the
don't even
train
really
when the
know what
computer has to
systems-
reboot every 2 days?
Yeah, and we don't really know what systems were running off this. I mean, they must have been important if it was able to shut down the train station. But
Yeah.
when I think of Flash, I generally think of a browser plugin, not as a like free running
Like
application that would control things like
Back
train
end
schedules.
runner or something.
So in my mind, I'm thinking this could be, you know, there's screens up on the wall that display the arrival times, departure times, all that.
See, I
Which
didn't
it
think
would
about
make sense
that.
Flash would be working for those. But if those weren't operational, would that really shut down the full operations of the, like, come on,
Unless
or
it-
maybe even their website if you're purchasing tickets through that
Yeah.
Flash application. I mean,
That
Yeah,
could be very true.
speculate, but
And then it could be just like system information for the people that are sitting in the control room. They're like, I don't know if that train's moving or not because the information is no longer loading for them too.
yeah, because they're viewing a screen to like monitor all
Yeah.
that.
Like,
and
I guess,
then, yeah.
like speed or brake heat or
I bet that's important stuff for trains.
yeah.
Certainly if you're a passenger on that train.
Wow, we should just do lists every week. That was the easiest.
That was pretty good.
All right, I'm gonna pull
Well,
these.
we've got a few perfect topics to tech about next week.
Oh, we're gonna talk about all
So-
the topics next week, not
We'll
just
talk about
3 of
all
them.
our topics.
All right, I'm gonna edit it as soon as I can get this deleted. Priorities. All right, we're gonna take about all.